Hello, everybody. Welcome to Global Party Healing on All Levels. And we are in for a real fabulous treat today. All the way from Ireland, originally from India.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi. Now, Marjana, can you pronounce your last name so it's pronounced properly?
Sure, it is Sri Manju Katragata.
See, that's why she's doing the pronunciation. I love languages, but I must admit somehow hearing the and pronouncing them come out a little differently.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about, when I asked you about picking a song, you were just saying you weren't into you were into this. So what song did you pick?
So today I picked up Deva Premal's Gayatri Mantra. This puts me into the balance, like tuning into myself. I like the dance kind of a music, but I can't dance. I have my own, no, not for me, but I love listening. But this one gets to me straight away. So yeah, it's Bhua Swaha, yeah?
Perfect. And it's going to set us up for connecting to our inner guide, which is what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
There you go. Lovely, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, you can just, I can feel the energy, like opening sort of the heart, really deep, feeling that breath and just totally relaxing into this gentle energy.
It's just like the vibration changes around us. It's my favorite, like, since I remember even as a child. So it's there with me forever, like, yeah. One constantly, like, which is unique as a Gemini for me, to have something very constant that I stick on to. So yeah, it's not much effort. The music does that touch the soul, isn't it?
Yes. So you said as a child, so is this something, this song would have been kind of like a, is it a well-known song in India? Is it something like a children's lullaby in one respect, or just part of a conscious vibration that India is putting out into the world?
I think it's a conscious way, like the India is putting out, I would say, from that higher realm, like, as a religion. But like, religion is like what we humans have put in place. But Hinduism on its own is a way of living. And this song is creating from that way of living, letting ourselves be in the light. But what happens when the religion comes overcast us? We have our own methods and our own beliefs coming into. But this lets me see the bigger picture. like always I have been trained like the God is within us, not in a temple only, like, so that is the beauty I see with this mantra as a child even, like, and it is in most of the Hindu families, like you'll be trained into it as a child even, on constantly in the temples you kind of hear, and this is why we love going to the temple. So as a church, the energies there are well balanced. You can immediately pick, oh, I feel relaxed, or no, I feel agitated. Yeah.
So kids are learning the differences in their bodies when they're little.
We do, yeah.
That's huge in today's age, right?
Big time, yeah. But what happens is, like, I think any part of the world, we always have then figured out once we are into the schooling system, disconnect, listen to the body and only listen to the head and what others say, and we forget. Now we are retraining back to listening to both the sides of it and bringing it into alignment is what I call it, and this is where we struggle as well, trying to build a confidence and trying to understand, is this right or is this right? Are they both going to say the same thing ever? Even we question.
That's a very good point. Are they both ever going to say the same thing ever?
Yeah, and sometimes they do, actually. Not all the times, Yeah.
So you grew up being connected in the sense, and that's I got shivers when you said about the school, because I really feel the school is where we teach kids all over the world to get out of what is true, right? Because it is your body and how your body feels, not just your mind. Like I always say, we're a whole body, we're just not a head.
True. Head to toe.
So, you help people get back in touch with their inner guide, connecting to their inner guide.
Yeah.
And do you do that in all levels? Are you working with children, adults, or everybody?
Everybody, I can say at this stage, because I started with myself and with my children first thing when they were like babies and toddlers, and now like 9 and 11-year-olds they are now, and then I started into the adults, like, because I can resonate what they are going through, because same as I was going through, like, and after my children were in schools, it just clicked to me, why can't we do this in the children in the school itself? Because it just I realized, like, at the age of 7 we all flip over into the system, into the society, more than to the home or to be ourselves. And one day my older child, she asked me, Mom, I think you're weird with all your energy work and everything, and not many of my friends' parents do all this as you do, because when she says tummy ache, I go with my hands and place my hands on her rather than reaching out for the calpol as the first thing. I mean, no offense to any other parents who would do it. Like, for me, it didn't come as a natural thing at the time. Like, once Reiki came into my life, and that put me a thought in my head, and I said, like, let me talk to some other parents who are the moms and who are also healers into this, and let's organize a well-being day in a school. And we did that like 3 years ago, and since then, like, I started teaching mindfulness in schools as well. So is exploring all these options. Like, we're all weird, but we are in right place and trying to balance this one. The seesaw is what I call that happens past or the future and the present, anchoring ourselves to the present moment. So when we can train that to our children in school, in primary school is what I'm targeting right now, it will be a great tool for them, like, to go for a long-term sustainability as well. Doing that, what I realized is actually I'm also teaching the parents indirectly, because the the best teachers, as you said, like, are the kids. And kids tell us we have nothing else to say about it. We go by, we trust them more than ourselves in many cases. And that's what, like, some of the kids' parents, they do love sending their children to the mindfulness, because they take back the techniques and it works for the whole family. And like my own children, like when they see me, I'm a bit stressed, they'll say, Mom, can you just try relaxing, breathing in and out, or doing 10 to 1 counting? It is awesome. Someone else can tell us, and we listen to them, because that is the most important tool we need at that moment of time. Like, So yeah, doing in the kids, being involved with the kids is the biggest thing I'm feeling in my heart center to go into that trust level. And in the initial days, I was a bit shocked, like, kids are having issues sleeping, anxiety, and stress as young as 8-year-olds and 7-year-olds. That was like a shocking thing for me. But like, understanding the family circumstances and giving the tools was the biggest thing that I'm trying to do for them. Like, no home is perfect, and no parent can be perfect ever. We're always constantly trying to learn, like, as they are growing, we are growing as well. They're not born with encyclopedia or the books or the Bibles. We are just referring. And no two children are the same as well, like, So I'm always constantly looking out for information to help for my own children, myself. And then when it works, then I talk about it, I'm sure it might help some other people. Like, yeah, that is how my evolvement is going through right now.
That is just so amazing because, like, I'm just going to tell you how we connected. So I'm in Canada. You're in Ireland. I was guided to go to Dublin for really what in my mind thought was just to see Bratzo and connect with some clients. And at this mind, body, soul exhibits, that was at a fair, I came across these two beautiful girls, and they were glowing, and these were Smajana's daughters, and I saw the light in them, and their eyes, and it was just this love and this openness that I seldom see in children anymore. I remember seeing in Africa when I first went there in 1991 that shifted, and that had me open my eyes to raise my kids totally differently. But it was in that moment, and then we connected, and then here we are. And I feel like maybe I pulled some of your energy because I thought the school system had to be redone. My kids were homeschooled or unschooled for a lot of it. But I just have gone into a grade 1 class here, and just some like simple little grounding techniques. The teacher has noticed the difference with some of the kids, right? So I think this is like the big broadcast in the sky is, I would feel like to realize when we pass our kids off to school, we're kind of like making them vulnerable.
Yeah.
Right. And this is where we've got to come back and really trust. What do we believe about our kids and schooling and life, and how can we make that transition easier?
Totally. Because the world may not be nice to them or not fair to them. There can be many other things that it's beyond our cocoon control. But making them believe, for me, I truly believe if they can trust themselves and they know their backs are being held, that we are there to support them no matter what, is the biggest things we can give. Like all the education, all the settlement, all the good life, everything will fall in place for them, like, but there's a couple of simple things have to be totally grounded for them, like, yeah. And every child needs that love, isn't it? Everyone deserves that love, yeah, no matter where it's coming from.
And you, I'm sure, would agree that in that loving our children and wanting the best for them, right? Just as you say, my kids are, they're 23 and 18 now. So, but they were able, when you raise them to be a soulful child and to know there's more of a connection, they are going, hey, Mom, maybe you need to let go of that, or you need to get tuned in a little. And it's fabulous that you're supported by your children in the sense that you've taught them to be true to themselves, and they can then hold each of us accountable. So it takes a strong mother to be able to let go of that sense that they always know what's best.
Always. There was this, I attended one workshop, which was for anti-bullying thing. That opened me, like, it was only a half an hour workshop, but that opened me a lot of things, where she was talking about, like, why a child will become a bully, or how the bullier becomes a bullier, like, or how when a child, even a baby, knows when to stop the feed or when to stop eating, and they just know that we overfeed, analyzing they need to be fed, like, But actually, if you let them feed themselves, they're feeding themselves every 2 hours, which is a healthy way. And most of the nutritionists now say the same. But we fall into that category of like 3 meals a day and no snacks when we were growing up to be aware of it. Like, but like they just know it since the time they're born. We just try to think we know everything. But actually, when I step back, Jesus, I know nothing.
Right.
Absolutely nothing. And when I look through my eyes to my kids, geez, these are talented kids. They are intelligent, like, no fear to explore, no fear to, like, put a step forward and see what's going to happen, even if they are going to be successful or not failure, because those two words we define, not them.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that children nowadays, like this is sort of the analogy I use, is that they like have come from cloud, like when we talk about cloud computing. So they're like in the cloud, but we still have a generation that's used to being on the desktop, right? And we're trying to get the cloud to come into the desktop, right? And it is not going to work. The cloud is saying, would you guys hurry up and just upgrade, 11.3.50, get with the game and get with the program, because they are connected and aware in such a broader level, right? They're a generation that knows, geography isn't just a place on a map now. They are aware of social issues that are going on. They're aware of environmental issues. They're aware in ways of this connection without having to understand it. They just somehow know it.
Yeah. I could talk to them about the politics. I could talk about the recent referendum in Ireland we had about the abortion yes or no thing, or even the prince wedding as well recently in England. So we can talk everything. Like when we were growing up, we didn't realize, or the parents didn't realize, like, we can be part of their conversations. It's always excluded us as adult conversation, because it's a very much open thing, like, maturing as we are growing up as well, like having or recognizing their identity, like, their personalities into it. So yeah, it's like when you're saying that, exactly right, like smartphone versus the old brick phone, isn't it? Never going to match. No way. Unless we upgrade, we change, not them. Like, they are highly intelligent beings.
Yeah. There was a book written maybe almost 30 years ago called The Continuum Concept. Did you ever hear about it?
No.
It basically, the nuts is that if we just let a child be a child, right? The child will actually know not to touch the electrical socket, right? And they'll know not to cross the road. Like there is something inside them. If we allowed them to be, they might get close to the cliff, but generally, you know what I mean? They don't, they can trust this inner guide, which you're talking about connecting, that we have an inner guide when they came. And if we can just be observant of that. And I've been sharing this story recently, just about when Destiny was, she walked at 9 months. And so we go to the playground and there's the little slide, right, for the baby, the toddlers. And then there's the big slide. And she wants to go on the big slide. And the stairs are still about the same amount apart. So for her, it's just climbing. And for me as a parent, that was my moment to say, oh, I'm the one that is feeling a little fearful, right? I can manage her over here, but up here, she's up there, right? And she's only this size. And that, I think, is the journey of, part of the journey of motherhood, is to realize our issues and what we are unconsciously passing on because somebody else's opinion or what we've read or what we've been told from our ancestors, we're giving them. But if we give them what's natural, like you're giving, your daughters to connect and to just that beautiful piece of music we listen to, you could feel it resonating in your body. We are allowing our children to be brilliant, sparkling, wonderful, creative beings that they're designed to be.
Yeah. And imagine how much powerful they are, like all the millennium kids as well, like, so it is like letting them explore. And we were the same. If we don't disconnect, there is an inner child with us. And that is what I still work with myself, like, and we are projecting what was not, the cravings of our own childing wasn't done. We are craving for it still, like, that unfulfilled business is still there, and we need to work on it constantly. And whenever there is a fear that comes from our childhood and we project onto our children for no reason, or not only our biological children, it could be the stepchildren or nieces and nephews as well, overshadowing again we get into, isn't it? Like, yeah. But I think we need to step back there again, work on ourselves as well, and then we can understand our children better, because we put like a beautiful veil or a layer. I know everything is perfect in my world. I don't know what you talk about. Why do I need healing? Like, I'm perfect and healthy. Jesus, tap inside. There is this big mess will open up. Yeah. But that's the best thing, like, getting into the mess, playing with the mess is so needed as well to be of freedom. Yeah.
Playing with the mess. I think that could be attributable. Playing with the mess. Because if you took that on as playing with the mess, it wouldn't be a mess, would it?
No.
Right? And kids play all the time, and then we want to structure it. We have even stopped the free play in so many ways, right?
Yeah.
It's like you play this game or you play this sport. One of the things when I was in Africa back in 1991 that just always stands out in my mind is where we were camping on the other side was a little village. So there's like a tiny little fence that was sort of separating the two. And the boys had gathered all the plastic bags. Okay. So, and they were being environmentally smart. Okay. They were taking all the plastic bags and they were wrapped it up in twine, and it was their soccer ball. And they were having a great time kicking this. And I was remember thinking, okay, that's ingenuity. It's creativity. It's fun. Now, we would look at that as a Westerner, and I'd say, oh, plastic. Not environmentally friendly. Do you know there's a better way? We have something called a soccer ball. We spend resources and we make it and we use all these things and we package it and ship it, and it's got an environmental impact, but we somehow think it's better. We always are judging.
And the branding. Yeah. It's so much like, even now we talk about the mess, like, I think we all as parents, we do this, like we try to tidy away the boxes in the night, all the toys, and the next day. So what we did is like keep as a rotation. Some boxes we keep in the shed or in the toy room, and in a while we take them out, like, when we take them out, like after 6 months, these kids would have completely forgotten what's in the boxes. It's like, wow, these are the new things, let's play, like, I was only experiencing myself recently, because most of my artwork is either in the shed or closed off that I don't see, because there is not enough walls now in the room to display art. I was taking them out, like, and what they were seeing the happiness for my happiness was amazing. Like, recollecting those happy memories, or the part of me, my feelings when I was creating those art as well. It was amazing how they take me into that journey every time. Only when I do that with them, like, it's like a river. I need to flow with them rather than stopping them from the flow. Like, yeah, it is so easy when we just don't have the boundaries there, isn't it?
Yeah. And
the
talk about art, my kids would do paintings and they would go on the wall too, right? And people go, oh, you hang your kids' paintings. I'm like, well, why would I want to hang someone else's, right? Like,
Exactly.
And then what would happen is probably maybe 3-4 years after they've done them, they'd be like, I don't like that one anymore. Or, I want to redo that. Take that off. That's not me anymore. And they would actually repaint over their canvases, and they would create something new. And even when I let them be them, they would look at childhood photos and they would say, that's not me anymore. Right? Like, it wasn't like they, remember, which so many people do. Oh, I remember. They were like, that's kind of cool, but that's not me anymore. We can get rid of that. And, they literally would part with things, whether even it was gifts that were given. And we had a giveaway drawer all the time. And they would go like, I go, Grandma and Grandpa just gave that to you. And they're like, yeah, but I don't want it. And I'd be like, and I would keep it, right? Thinking, 6 months, I'll bring it out, right? Something. And it might go, and really, when they had decided they didn't want it, They didn't
It's
want
just,
3, 4, 5, 6 years, whatever, however long I kept talking.
yeah,
And they just know. They knew.
right, yeah.
And those are the things my kids taught me, right? To trust. It's like when I homeschooled, brought Faith home in grade 1, she would love to sing. So she did
Hmm.
a preschool in the Waldorf system, and then she'd be like la 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 la, and I'm like, if you were in school, they'd be saying, shh, right? And she is probably going to be like, that's her thing. That she's written hundreds of songs. She's like a lyricist. You give her 3 words, she can come up with a song. So her natural gift was that concept of hearing all this music all the time. But in the school, it would have been,
Because it is a structure that we apply into it, like, yeah, it's narrowing down to what we think is right for their curriculum, rather than some children are naturally gifted, they need to explore, they don't fit in the same square box, they need a triangle. Yeah, we can't give the triangle there.
so
Yeah.
how did the school that where your kids are at, how did they receive you and the other moms? Like, was it a bit of a this, or were they like, oh yes, come help us, please?
I think the school is good because ours is like Educate Together system, which is like open diversity, and they get a bit of culture there, like, openness, and with that they're more open to it. And once we did this well-being show as well, so they explore like, oh, there are many more moms who are doing this, or dads doing this, like, and it is a profession, and it is something, it's systematically done as well, like meditation, mindfulness in the school. Thankfully now, like this year, I'm so grateful that most of the teachers do share mindfulness tips in the school, not an extra curriculum, but like, little break times, like few minutes here and there. So
Right.
my kids are saying that, oh, mom just doesn't do the mindfulness on her own, but my teachers are doing it as well, so it's part of the whole tribe there. So let's be more like, they go for yoga, and in yoga they teach about these mantras, namaste, and they come back and teach me different type of breathing, like, so we are able to have the conversation 2 ways, just not one way, like, yeah. Like in that way, I'm very grateful for the school able to let them be themselves, and they do understand they need that education, and also they can disconnect and come home, and they can be more free as well, like, like when I compare to my own growth in India, it's like, thankful to my school, it was very good one, where I had explored a lot of other things as well, like my art, my creativity, and everything. But sometimes it's more about like the scoring system takes over as you're growing up, like, into your secondary, and everything else goes back, and that didn't fit me at all. For me, I'm not too much into my head space, I'm more from my heart space, even as a child. But like, because of the numbers, I always like, nah, it doesn't work for me, like, I didn't know where else I could. And thankfully yoga is what I found. Like when I was 14, I started doing yoga, it got me a balance in myself, like, and this is where I believe strongly, like since then. Yeah, you need other tools as well to sustain. You need a workplace. Like I also worked in the corporate companies until like last year, able to hold my space again, having all these tools. That little child of me all the time comes along, like, helps me to hold the balance. Yeah, if I feel disconnected, I ask myself, as a child, what would I love to do? I say, crap everything, just leave everything, take a time out, like, and what worst can happen, like, I just need to postpone everything, that's all for a day. But it's so needed, like, when, like, as a child, even, like, when the child is not well, they don't go to school a couple of days, but they feel so ready after that, right? We forget, we feel like we need to always be on the ladder, on the roller coaster ride, always trying to please everyone. I did that, wasn't successful, couldn't do for a long time. I said, no, not for me. Good luck if someone can do for a long time, but there's no point. At 29, I was diagnosed with chronic ailment, depression, arthritis. No, that was a wake-up call for me. No more needed, like, Yet, it doesn't say that all that is not there. It is there at a very minimal level, but I'm more happier now. Never would go back to the old times. No, it's not worth it, like, until you discover yourself, you just run around it. But once you discover yourself, you just stop. You enjoy yourself more. Just like a baby, that's what I wrote in my book as well. Like, as a baby, when you were born, you were licking your own feet, That's a memory of my babies when I was watching them. Like, I was literally waiting for them, like, to twirl their toes into their mouth. The best thing in my head, like, yeah. And that is how much we loved. But now, when we look at our body, we say, I have so many wrinkles, I have so many stretch marks, I'm so fat, I'm so thin, never perfect. Like, never, we are never happy. But why did so much gap come in as a baby to now? Somewhere that line has disconnected. It's like rewiring, trusting that you're the same person. You can always have the thin cord and you can be back and plugged back in, like our phones need a recharge, we need a recharge.
Yeah.
And recharge happens with our power center, which is our inner child, which is our solar plexus. Connect back there. And that is the biggest thing. Your gut always will tell you what is so needed. For me, it is art. Some people, it's a walk. Some people, it is just being by the beach. We all are different. We all will have our unique gift. Hobbies and the gifts and talents are so important in the whole thing. If you look around any children, one thing they always will be loving is art and craft. Never, ever they get tired of it.
No, but what they do get tired of is sit down and do your numbers or do your reading or just learn about something, right? Like just learn. And they're like, why?
Oh, I used to be sleepy. Oh, totally. And I used to keep my books, for the next day exam under my pillow. And I used to think all the downloads will happen into my head rather than reading. You better sleep. You just can't focus so much. But I would be awake until 2 a.m. and do the artwork. Never, ever tired. Yeah. That is how I got my insomnia back then.
Well, I think that's really key, right? Is to follow, and I feel like that's the big message that's happening right now in the world, is follow what brings you joy, right? Mm-hmm. Trust that you are unique, that this idea that we all tried to be the same or make everybody feel like these were the rules, it's like, no, you were raised differently than I was raised differently. But ultimately, I feel like this core within you and I is so the same. It's like bursting out with this, the idea that inside, connecting to your inner guide and allowing others to connect to their inner guide just keeps this joy and love flowing, doesn't it?
Yeah. And thinking about even why do we miss our joy or why are we not happy is because you have forgotten a part of you at the back and you're moving forward all the time. That missing part has to come along, which is the biggest thing for you, and then you will find the people happier. Sometimes it's the sunshine that brings in, sometimes it's your birthdays that bring in, or little joyful moments, but it's not constantly. We need to build that up alignment again with that little part of you to yourself. And you will have it all the time. Again, saying that it's not that we won't have a dip of our emotions or low moments. We will, but we'll bounce back quicker because your full self is there, and that is the whole thing about the life, right? We need to learn, we need to fall, we need to rise. Again, going back to the baby, without falling, we never learned how to walk, right? Or crawling and slipping over. We never knew how to grow up. And how could we do now without having a low moment to understand what was that teaching us? To have a high moment as well, isn't it? Yeah.
And was it a low moment, right? Or is that just our perception that it was a low moment, right? I think I like to believe we tell ourselves stories, right? And I always say, choose a story that empowers you. So for me, the baby just knows you're walking. I can do that too. And so they're just, okay, did I do it now? No, I didn't do it now. I'm doing that. They never think, oh, I failed, or, oh, that didn't work. They're in this motion of, this is what I'm going to do. This is how my life is going to be. And then it could be a trauma sometimes, right? Or a situation or, whatever. But somehow something usually starts to interfere. And this, when you say in the beginning, do this and this, the heart and the head ever come together, I think that's where the separation starts to happen. Yeah. And then then the child is spending their life trying to assess what is true, and then people come to you to say, connect me back to my inner guide.
Tap into it, like, yeah, so important. Like, no one wakes up thinking, I'm going to have a crap day. No one ever will wake up with that. Like, we nearly every day, we kind of are in a good mood to wake up and look forward for a better day, like, better than yesterday, or better solutions to our whatever issues are happening today in that. But then again, if there is a slip of moment, the choice is always ours. Do you want to take the positive path or the negative chatterbox, which is always going to be there? Like, try the other one. Try the positive side of you, like, for a change. Like, what if today could be much better than yesterday? What will happen? Because yesterday you tried thinking it's going to be a crap day, or was a crap day already. You have witnessed it. So let's try for the change there and see what happens, And I think part of the whole thing is about the gratitude. Biggest thing, like, we to be grateful. And that is like a biggest part in my life that influenced my life, and one that I always talk about it, because without that, there is nothing that exists, even, like, even the tiniest thing. And people might criticize, like, how could you be grateful, like, for having a home? But like, when I look at, when I'm on travels, I look around people who don't even have that, and they sleep in the tent and they still have a smile. Wow. What am I complaining about in my life, even, like, yes, of course, I need a bigger house, bigger rooms for my art and everything. Let me come back to be grateful to what I have, even. I had my wake-up call through my depression, my arthritis at 29, having a spawn baby and a 2-year-old, because my husband that day said, like, stop moaning about what's not there in your life, start appreciating. And I nearly kicked him out of the house that day, but thanks to it, like, actually, I was alive to even see them growing. See, I was breathing in, at least to witness what's in front of me, like the smiles, the baby smile, everyone around smiles. And I was not seeing that straight away. Like, I was only thinking, I can't do so much. I can't do so much. At 29, I can't be. I was always witnessing my own, and I was making my pains even to grow bigger. But that was the day everything changed. And yeah, it's not that I was ignoring it. I was looking to the better side, because by then I was already seeing, like, what didn't work out.
Right.
Most of us, we miss that little thing, like, coming into the spotlight is what is so important. Seeing what's in that little light. Spotlight is only tiny bit, but there is a lot happening there. It is a light in us. And there could be so much darkness around, but who cares? We all have.
And once you put a light in a dark room, right? You just go into your basement somewhere, right? And you just put a teeny light. It's no longer dark.
Yeah.
Right.
And you feel good, like, to walk in that little light.
So that's the idea that we're talking about here for everybody that's listening. Is you may feel you're on a treadmill. You may be feeling like, okay, but I need my job because it pays my mortgage payment. And, and you can feel that you're stressed, and you're stressed, and that you're not happy, right? And you are aware of all these things, but how is that making you feel even more powerless, because you're not doing anything about it, right? So take a moment now just to say, what is your inner guide? What is your inner guidance telling you? Why, if you're feeling like you need to move away, then it's like, what are the fears coming up, right? Like, allow yourself to start to explore, because when you have a breakdown, right? Like your illness, my illness, everybody has a crisis in a sense. We feel like, but it was the breakdown that gave us the breakthrough.
Yeah, totally. I love that. 100%, yeah.
So that's what we're a stand for. So if you feel like you need an inner guide, right, connect. Where can they find you? They can find me on the Facebook. It's Experience Healing, or my website, experiencehealing.ie, or connectyourinnerguide.com. With the book, like, it has all the steps in it, like 7 sutras to have an awakening, recognizing and then working on it. Like gratitude, I said few other things I have as well that worked, not only for me, but the journey that I have seen over the 9 years with my clients, my students,
we all have our wake up call with our health issues, family traumas, and this is like, break up, like, and then break through inside. Like, you just need to rip apart before you see the light within you. And that is what the most of the us go through that journey of it. Yeah. Knowing that you're not on your own, your tribe is with you is so important as well. And we're all part of it. We all go through that. Some of us recognize it early, some of us don't recognize it until later in the years, like, and still we work it out, like, and perfect timing is that's the time. Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is your wake up call, everybody.
Yes.
And
have a smile.
Here, you found us. This is it. Okay. Whatever you feel guided to do, if it's to connect here or connect with any of the other speakers, just allow yourself that you can have healing on all levels, and you can find that joy, that health, that love, that wealth. Just feel completely thrilled with your life, and go out and share that gift with others. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jacqueline.
I hope we have many more conversations.
Yay! Thank you for this. Yeah.
Bye.